So I've already gone ahead and primed my face and my eyes as well, and of course I have a link to everything that I'm using down in the description bar below, so make sure to check that out. The first Black Opal product I'm going to be using is their True Color Foundation, and I am most excited and nervous about using this foundation in particular because I don't really use drugstore foundations, mostly because I am so bad at color matching myself. It's just so much easier for me to just go to a MAC or an Estee Lauder counter and have them do the swatches of foundation on my face because I can't do it myself. I have a hard time looking through packaging and trying to match my foundation. And this is the color Nutmeg, and looking in the viewfinder, I think it might be a pretty okay match. So I'm going to go ahead and try this out. I think I'm going to swatch it first just so I can see if this is going to be a good match or not. But I heard really great things about this foundation. People say it's their holy grail foundation, and I really hope that it will be really good because I don't have any drugstore foundations. I think this will be a cool one to try out. So first thing I'm going to do, I'm just going to, I guess, put this on half of my face so you can kind of see if it's a match or not. So far, it looks pretty good. Okay, this is definitely, I would call this a medium coverage. It's actually has more coverage than I would anticipate, and it looks a tiny bit dark so far. As you can see, I'm only doing half of my face right now, and yeah, it looks dark. This is a little bit dark, but that's okay because I can always go back and exchange it for a different color if it doesn't match. Let's look. Well, I mean, down to my neck. No, yeah, this is dark. Oh well. But I think the coverage is pretty good, and it actually feels really good too. Like, when it comes to makeup, like, you don't want to feel anything on your face. And so far, it feels good. It's not heavy. This is also an oil-free foundation. It doesn't feel cakey just yet, but it feels a little bit moist. I wonder if that's because I put on primer too, but it does feel a tiny bit, like, I don't want to say sticky, but a little watery, if that makes sense. I'm just going to start blending this down my neck, and it looks pretty dark, but it's actually covered up my acne and dark spots pretty well. Yeah, I don't know, what do you guys think? Now I'm going to be trying the Black Opal concealer. This is the color Toast, and I think this is going to be a pretty good match for me in terms of just my face and doing concealing on my face. I wasn't sure if this would be a face concealer or like a, you can see it right there, just an under eye concealer, because I use the Tarte concealer currently in their darkest color, which is deep, and that's just way too light for me, which is really ridiculous. So I just put it back in my hand. I'm just going to use this concealer side of this brush and see if I can use this as a concealer on my face. Wow. That actually looks really good. I think it's a pretty good match. Yeah, I think Nutmeg and Toast, actually it's a little bit light now that I'm looking at it. Yeah, you can kind of see that area right there I put on my concealer. It looks a little bit too light for me, so I'm just going to use this underneath my eyes. It's not bad. I just think it's a little bit orangey though. I'm the one who sees this. It looks a little, not orangey, but it looks a little bit yellow, like a little sallow. So this is definitely lighter than my skin tone. There's no doubt about that. And this is the color Toast once again. And I'm just blending this down. I think the concealer itself actually goes on really nicely. It's pretty creamy and very smooth. So I like it for that. And I think it's concealing a little bit. I think this is like a really good medium to full coverage concealer. You can definitely build it up. But it looks yellow as all heck. It is definitely not a great match for me, but I committed to this and I am going to keep doing it. So I'm just blending this out again, just highlighting. It looks a little greasy. I mean, it looks a little greasy. Maybe I was heavy-handed with it, but it's kind of shiny. Unfortunately, there are absolutely no Black Opal powders in my color when I went to Rite Aid. So I'm just going to be using my good old handy dandy Rimmel Stay Matte powder. I would be using this powder with any foundation, so I think it totally makes sense to use it even in a first impressions video. And I'm just going to tap this all over my face. Hopefully it'll take out some of that greasiness that I'm seeing. It looks really shiny underneath here, right? Where I put the concealer. Looks a little bit shiny. I'm kind of hesitant to use a yellow powder on top of my concealer just because I think it's gonna look even more yellow, but I'm gonna do it anyway. So now I'm just gonna start setting my under eye area with the Nye Banana Powder. Let's see how yellow this looks because it looks really like warm in the mirror, so I'm kind of worried about how this is going to look on top of that. I think it looks better actually. Okay, I think the yellow banana powder actually made this look a lot more wearable. I'm pretty happy with that. Or what do you guys think? I mean, I think it looks good, but it's always a good idea to get, you know, a second, third, or fourth opinion on these kinds of things. So let me know what you guys think in the comment section down below. If you have any questions, of course, then go ahead and leave that down in the comments below too, and I'll try to answer it. So I have on my foundation, my concealer. I think it looks really good. I think it's actually like a really good medium to full coverage foundation and concealer combo. I have really bad skin and you can't really tell like in my problem areas over here in my cheeks. There's a little bit of blemishes showing through, but that's totally okay because this is like a everyday look. I'm not like going to a wedding or anything yet. But I think it looks good. I think I'm gonna go ahead and do my eyebrows since I have no Black Opal eyebrow products. So I put on my concealer and blush, which took about 7 to 8 minutes. And the more I'm looking at this foundation, the more I'm starting to think it actually is looking more like my actual skin tone. Maybe I'm delusional because I really want to like this. I think this is actually a really good coverage. I just wish it was my actual skin tone, but what do you guys think? I mean, it's not that bright outside, so maybe it looks darker than it actually is because of that. I'm only using natural lighting. I don't have any like studio lighting or anything like that, but I don't know. Do you think this matches? Like, look at my neck. Like, look at it. Maybe it's matching, maybe it's oxidizing, maybe it's starting to look good. I don't know. So I'm moving on to my eyes. I got this Black Opal eye duo. This is the color Brazen Flame. I was really drawn to these colors because they just look so pretty. I love this orangey color here in the side. I guess this is like a lid color and a crease color. I'm really excited to try this. So I hope this wears really long. What I look for in a really good eyeshadow, something that's creamy, blends out easily, and lasts a really long time. But before I put that on, I'm actually going to be using the brown color. Wow, you can't even see that. Couldn't even see any of that. I'm going to be using the brown color in this Wet n Wild palette. The brown color in this Wet n Wild palette to act as a transition shade. So I'm just going to quickly sweep that over my crease area. Ooh, okay. It's my first time using this Wet n Wild palette too. But I thought this was brown. I thought this would be like a really nice brown shade to like blend with because it's so hard to find an in-between transition shade a lot of the times, but this looks definitely like straight up blue. Does that look blue to you? Does that look blue to you? It's not blue. Why does it look kind of blue? I don't know. People rave about Wet n Wild palettes. I have never used a Wet n Wild eyeshadow before, and I don't know, actually it blends out pretty nicely. It's actually really easy to move around, but this color, this is brown, right? This isn't brown. It's not brown. This isn't brown. That may have been a big mistake. I hope this video is like not a huge train wreck, but I'm trying, y'all. I'm trying. Okay, so now I'm just gonna put this really pretty orange color all over the top of my lid using a regular flat eyeshadow brush from Sephora. I think, hey, that's pretty pigmented, right? Yeah, I like that. And I think that this orange color is definitely, well, it's kind of like an orange-red color. I think this definitely looks true on the eye as it does in the pan. And you can definitely build up the pigmentation a lot. So this one has like a little more color than this eye over here. So I'm just going to try and match them to look good. I think I'm just going to try and cover up that transition shade that I totally failed at with this orange color. So it's actually really pretty. It kind of reminds me of like a phoenix. Brazen Flame Phoenix, you get it? I think this is like a great, really great orange color. Okay, the orange color is on, so now I'm going to start putting this really dark purple, almost maroonish color into my crease. Just blend that out. Note to self, transition coloring was a mistake, at least in this instance. I think this brown color looks pretty okay though. But now I'm interested to see how this is going to last. But still, I'm really loving this orangey color. I think it looks really good. I'm going to start fixing my eyeshadow because I think I went a little bit too far over here. I need to really blend this out some more. So my first impression of this eyeshadow is really good. I think they have great pigmentation. I think it looks really nice. I love the two colors together. They actually show up really nicely on my skin, so that's great. I'm gonna go ahead and finish this off with some eyeliner and mascara, and then I'll come right back. Okay, so eyes are completely done. I am in love with how this looks. I'm a big sucker for golden orangey eyeshadows anyway, so this is definitely an easy one for me. I love this eyeshadow so far, but we're gonna see how it wears throughout the day, just give a final verdict. But so far, I love how this looks. I think it's beautiful. I think it matches my skin tone really nicely. I think it just looks really pretty, so I love this eyeshadow. Thumbs up so far, but I'll give you a final verdict at the end of the video. Now moving on to my lips. I got this Black Opal lip thing. I'm not sure if this is a lip gloss or like a liquid lipstick. This is the color of Violine. I think it's a really pretty kind of like blood red, almost purpley kind of color. I'm gonna swatch this really quickly just so you guys can see how it looks. This is not gonna match this eyeshadow. Ooh, that's very purple. I really like that. This isn't gonna match my eyeshadow at all, but whatever. I'm doing this for YouTube, no big deal. So let's see how this wears. I don't know, once again, this is a lipstick or not, but I'm just gonna throw this on and see how it looks. Firstly, I'm gonna line my lips with a NYX lip liner. Another update, my foundation is creasing really badly right here, my smile lines. I have that problem anyway. I already have wrinkles like down here because I smile a lot. I mean, no big deal, but it's pretty annoying when your foundation starts creasing over here, you know? And now we're gonna see how this lip product looks. I think it's gonna be a really pretty purple color, so let's see if I'm right. Very pigmented. All over my teeth. Reminds me of Halloween. This actually looks really similar to Wet n Wild Sugar Plum Fairy. It's the same like dark purple color. This one's a little darker though. It really reminds me of Halloween and the mother from the Addams Family. Okay, this is pigmented and shiny as heck. Also, it tastes really badly because I got it all over my teeth and now I'm tasting it. It tastes like death, but that's totally okay. Just by itself, I think it's a really pretty lip color. Definitely not, I guess, maybe work friendly unless you work like at a really laid back place. I wouldn't wear this to work. This is definitely like a night out kind of color. It's actually a lot darker in person than it looks on camera, and it's also surprisingly shiny. I kind of like that. It's not sticky. It actually feels really nice and smooth, and I feel like this is going to last a really long time, but I'll come back and let you guys know. I have a lot of errands to run today, so I'll come back with an update in a couple of hours. It is currently 12:20. You couldn't even see that. Okay, so the time is now 2:24, and I've had this foundation on for about 2 hours. As you can see, it's getting a little bit oily on my forehead and my cheek area. So my T-zone's a little bit oily, which is surprising since this is like a oil-free foundation, but it just looks very warm and very yellow in general. So I'm wondering if all of their foundations are like that, because your undertone is as important, if not more important, than the actual color of the foundation. So I'm not sure this is a great fit for me, but I do love the finish, the coverage. It's really nice. It covers up blemishes really great. I haven't had any problems with my blush or contour wearing off just yet, so this does seem to be pretty long wearing. It's only been 2 hours, so I'm probably going to come back for at least one more update later on today to give you guys the final verdict. My eyeshadow seems to be holding up really well. I think that's probably my favorite part so far. The lipstick is holding up too. It's still really pigmented and looks pretty good. So yeah, I'll be back in a few more hours with my final update. Hey guys, it is now around 7 o'clock p.m. and the sun's about to go down. This is going to be my last update today because if I were to film any later, it would just be way too dark to see me. Onto the makeup. This foundation actually held up really well. I'm impressed with the stay time. It looks great. It still is covering all my blemishes. It hasn't worn off. My blush is a little bit gone, but my contour is still there, so I'm totally okay with that. But this foundation's awesome. I think that if I actually found a foundation color a foundation from this line in my color and in my undertone, I would totally get it. But I recommend it to all of you. I mean, it's a little bit greasy here in my T-zone area, my cheeks, you know, my chin. It's oily, but I have very oily skin. Once again, great foundation, recommend it. As far as the concealer goes, I can't really tell it apart from the rest of my foundation. I think just blended in like really nicely, so I can't really speak to that, but it is pretty oily right here where I applied my concealer earlier. On my eyeshadow though, it's still holding up really nicely. This is probably my favorite part of the entire makeup line so far. It looks really great. I love the colors. I'm totally smitten with that burnt orange goldish colors that came in that eyeshadow duo. It looks great. It stayed for a really long time. My lips, as you can tell, they're still a little bit purple. It kind of left behind a purple stain, but then again, I have been eating and stuff, so that's totally normal. I mean, most lipsticks don't hold up against eating, you know, so that's totally fine, but I think it did a really good job. Once again, thanks so much for watching, guys. I really appreciate your viewership. If you're new, please subscribe, give this video a big old thumbs up if it's helpful to you. I hope you all have a great Friday, a great weekend, or whatever day this is, and I'll see y'all next Friday in my next video. Bye.